You oil the butt.
All right, anyway, so hi. Welcome to Cinemechanics.
Hello. As you can tell, we're tired.
God, it is like, it's 1:30 in the morning. We hit the latest show.
Possible.
Showing of this movie.
There was only one movie that was playing after our movie, and it was only 10 minutes later that it was starting. So,
God,
and it was it, right?
Yeah, it was it. Yeah, and they probably got out like another 20-30 minutes after us, right?
Yes, movie was long.
Yeah. So,
what movie do you ask?
Mother. We went and saw Aronofsky's. Mother.
With it's all lowercase.
Exclamation
how do you say
that? Mother.
Mother. Sounds like a question. Mother.
Mother.
So yeah, that's it's Darren Aronofsky's newest film.
You know. Oh.
And what?
What? It's a song.
So
it's a song.
Like. His films are always weird.
That's true.
So I feel like this episode's going to be less of how to fix it and more of just
how to
decipher
understand it.
How to understand.
How to understand this film.
I feel like Black Swan was a lot more straightforward.
I didn't see Black Swan, actually.
You didn't?
I didn't. I don't think I did. No.
Eggies?
Oh,
sorry.
So, yeah, I mean, a lot of his other films, which I don't know what point you're going to cut this in, James, but yeah, spoiler alerts. If you haven't seen the film and you'd like to see the film, don't listen to this until after you've watched it.
It's safe to say that if you listen to our podcast before you've seen the movie that we're talking about, we're going to ruin it for you.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I mean, you kind of can't discuss a film without getting into the nitty-gritty.
I mean, we can't discuss a film in depth.
Yeah.
We can be super duper vague, but y'all won't enjoy it.
But that's no fun. Yeah,
it'd be like 10 minutes, and that's all we'd have good for you.
Those are called reviews. So,
and we don't review movies. We don't know how.
Oh yeah,
we're gonna give it a rating at the end.
Yeah. So, Aronofsky has made other films like Requiem for a Dream and Black Swan, The Wrestler.
The Wrestler.
The first film was...
Or if
he did not make Memento, man.
If you're James or a member of James's family, it's The Wrestler.
The Wrestler.
The Wrestler.
My family is very country.
Yes.
And I've picked up some words growing up.
Wrestling.
Like Chester drawer.
Chester drawer.
Onion.
No.
Onion.
No, I grew up thinking it was called Chester drawer. No one ever corrected me.
Who's Chester? And why do you have his drawers?
I don't ask these questions. I just put my clothes in there.
I thought Chester invented those drawers, and then got named after him.
It wasn't a thing that I asked. I didn't care. I just kept my clothes, and that's fine.
It's okay. But now that you're an adult and you know better.
For those who aren't in the know, it is chest of drawers. Yes.
Chest of drawers.
Yes.
Makes much more sense than Chester drawers.
And onion, in fact, does not have a G in it. It's pronounced onion.
That's just like that's.
I mean, but
an accent
but,
thing more than
both doesn't have an L, and I totally say both. So
yeah, but you're wrong, Reggie. For once, you're wrong, not me.
Yeah, but both feel so gross coming out of your mouth.
Both. But see,
okay. Anyway, so yeah, needless to say, Aronofsky has made a bunch of kind of weird, slightly artsy films before Mother. I would say the one most similar, at least that I've seen, would be Pi, which is his first film.
I haven't seen Pi.
It's very similar to this, where it kind of starts off as a story and takes a concept, but then it just gets really vague and weird and goes weird places. And
I mean, I can definitely see similarities in Requiem for a Dream.
Yeah. So something I've noticed is that he seems to like the theme of like obsession and paranoia. So Pi is kind of like that. It's been a long time since I've seen it. From what I remember, it's something about a mathematician maybe discovering some kind of formula or something. It could be like the name of God or something.
But what kind of pie? Is it like pumpkin pie?
No, I think it's 3.14. It has to do with math.
Oh,
yeah.
I see.
Those don't taste very good.
No, they don't. So but 3.14 slices of pie.
Oh,
excellent.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So
I don't know, it's a little too much for me.
Yeah, it has to do something like he discovers something in the math, maybe like the name of God or something. I don't know. And so he gets like obsessed with it and paranoid that people are after him and everything. And then you look at Requiem for a Dream, and it's about
it's
people,
super trippy and weird and like
but it's straight up about like the destruction of what the drug trade will do to you.
Yeah, but see, Requiem, the difference between Requiem and this movie is Requiem definitely has a very clear story, or
you are left with a clear understanding of what's going on.
You know what's going on the entire time for the most part.
It just uses trippy visuals and metaphorical scenes to kind of push its point in a really artsy way.
Yeah.
Right.
And then Black Swan is clearly about what over-obsessing over something can do to you. Mm-hmm. And then I've never seen The Wrestler, but I think it's something similar where it's a kind of an old wrestler that maybe was retired or really close to retirement and something like that. And he wants to come back and be a big thing.
I've heard good things about it, though.
Yeah,
so
I've heard it's good. I kind
of want to see it.
Yeah, no, I've heard it's really good, but it's kind of that similar theme where he's, obsessing over something. So Mother is kind of like that too, where she's obsessing over
her relationship with her husband.
Yeah. So, so a quick, I guess, synopsis is: if you haven't seen it and you said, "Fuck, I'm not gonna watch it," or maybe it's been a while since you've seen it. Like, it's about this husband and wife. They don't really have names, but supposedly they give a name of what is the actress's name?
J-Law.
Yeah, Jennifer Lawrence. Her character's name is Mother, which is the film, the title of the film. And then Javier Bardem's character is just him. Yeah, because you never are given a name. Yeah. In fact, there are no names given throughout the entire film.
It's kind of a weird thing too, because you mentioned you mentioned that would happen, and so I started thinking about it in the movie like halfway through, and I'm like, you know what? They haven't said anybody's name, and it kind of didn't bother me at all.
Yeah, it was weird. There were a lot of points in the movie, and I kept being like, it'd be a good point right now to call out the name of the person that they're looking for, but they never do that, and it's really, I don't know, it's really kind of strange. But anyway, so it's about them and him. The Javier Bardem's character is a writer, and I don't. It doesn't really explain how long they've been married, but apparently not too long. But they moved into his old house, which had apparently burned down, and she had helped rebuild it and everything. And
she didn't help. She did it all by herself.
Yeah,
Let's give her credit.
Yeah. All right. Proud of women. They did all that. And it's all an attempt to try to get him inspiration for writing, because he had one book of poetry that apparently
was extremely successful.
Yeah, and ever since then he's kind of hit a rudder and not been able to go anywhere.
Writer's block.
Yeah, really bad writer's block.
After a tragedy like your house burning down, that's
right, and losing everything, it's kind of a big deal, right? And so, so the film kind of starts off with them just at the house, and then. But I don't know, they never really touch on it, but throughout the film you get hints of things aren't all right with their relationship, and they kind of
eventually they go into it, because she just screams, "Hey, you don't fuck me."
Yeah, that's a big thing, but
there's a lack of communication, and he's not affectionate towards her, and he doesn't take her feelings into consideration.
Yeah, I mean, it is really good at foreshadowing what the rest of the film is going to be like. We're very, very early on, which is nice. But so then I don't know, this guy ends up coming to the door and claims he's a doctor and was looking for a bed and breakfast, and come to find out he's just a fan who's dying and is wanting to meet the author of his favorite works of poetry before he dies.
Which is weird. Don't do that.
Yeah, don't do that, people. I mean, if you meet someone that
maybe write an email or a letter.
Yeah, those are good. Nice and distant. You don't disturb people, and it's not creepy.
Didn't even have cell phone service out there. I don't think they had internet.
Yeah, so. But he's got a publisher. So he can get all the fan mail sent to him from his publisher. But anyway, so and then shit just kind of gets a little crazy. Where so it's him and it's very clear that J-Law's character mother isn't assertive, right? So she's not assertive.
Right.
She's very
calm. She's the passive and what's it called? Anyway, she does whatever he tells her to do.
Right, and she may have problems, but she doesn't really do anything about it. And it's really...
Is that because he's abusive? Is that because she just is insecure and has no confidence? Why is that?
I mean, I think it has to do with her... I feel like it's a lack of confidence. Like she feels, because she kind of hits on that a little bit later on in the film. That's saying like, I think she has a fear that she could be losing him or is able to lose him at any moment, and it probably has to stem from his lack of intimacy with her,
and his popularity with his fans.
Right, and so you can kind of tell in the back of her mind that she always thinks it's always about him. He's more obsessed with himself and what's good for him and not really what's good for me or for us, right? And so he like invites this man and to like, you can stay the night, blah blah blah, and she kind of goes along with it, and then his wife shows up and they were like, we didn't know you had a wife, and it's like, okay, well then all of a sudden they can stay as long as they please. But this wife, Jesus motherfucking Christ, I got so frustrated. It's not that she was a bad character, and it wasn't bad actor. Like the actress did a really good job, but this character was a fucking bitch. Like very much in Jennifer Lawrence's face the entire time, and like being very direct and assuming shit and like trying to really tear her down for pretty much no reason.
It's because they were there for him, not she was in the way.
Well, and also just they don't know these people.
Oh no, they don't. No.
Yeah, and that's what's weird is that she's reacting in what I feel is a very Jennifer Lawrence is acting in a very normal way of just like, who are these people? Why the fuck are they in my house? Like, and they're just. And what was crazy to me, this happens a lot throughout the film, where somebody comes into the house and then they just instantly just like, this is my home now, essentially, and are just walking around, just exploring the house. I mean, one guy even says, "Oh, sorry, just exploring," and I'm just like, I would fucking punch somebody if they just walked in my house and just started. I'd be like, whoa, you like
you stay in your designated area and wait till I invite you somewhere else.
Yeah, I mean, it's different if someone has to go into my bedroom because they have to use my bathroom or something, but. Normal people don't just walk into a house and just like, I'm gonna go exploring. Like, no.
And towards the end, it was people that walked in knew where they were going.
Oh yeah.
Which was bizarre.
I feel like I don't know. See, with this kind of movie, I don't know if that was an oversight or that was totally intended.
It was intended.
I think it was intended. With Aronofsky, he's very meticulous. I mean, he clearly had a very definite direction he was going with this. But before we get to the end, because it gets really nuts. So just to kind of hit on the story beats. So the wife and the husband are staying there, and for whatever reason, which I kind of want to go into it later after we've hit all the story beats, but there's basically this glass thing in Javier Bardem's office where he writes, and people are for whatever reason magnetically attracted to it. They see it and they just want to touch it. And so at one point, this lady takes her husband into there, and before this, Jennifer Lawrence was straight up just don't go in his office. He doesn't like anybody else in there unless
he's with them.
Mm-hmm. And I think it's specifically for that glass piece because he knows people want to touch it. And so they go in there and they drop it and break it, right? And of course, Bardem's character is very pissed and like doesn't know what to do. And then they're just like, oh, we're so sorry. Like, you can tell they're not really all that sorry. And then Jennifer Lawrence basically tries to throw them out, but they pretty much ignore it.
Actually, we're sorry to him, and until they realized that he couldn't see them anymore and only she could, then they were like, they giving her a look like, I'm really not sorry. I don't care about you. I don't care what you think. But as long as he thinks we're sorry and he can forgive us, then that's fine.
All right. Morgan, you look like you want to say something.
You're bursting.
I want to let you guys talk because I cheated a little and read an article.
Oops. She's banned from the podcast.
But everything you guys are saying is like blowing my mind because I'm connecting the dots and I'm like, oh my god, I have so much to say. So keep going.
Okay.
We'll talk about it later.
Yeah. So that all happens, and she tries to throw him out, like I said, and they just are pretty much just like, fuck you. Like, we're not going to listen to you because they don't give a shit about her. And it keeps going back to this thing of, like, it keeps... the beginning of the film really accentuates her lack of assertiveness because, whenever she goes to tell him, be like, she says, we want you to leave. And then the bitch character pretty much says, like, is it we or is it you? And she doesn't answer. And so she's like, I gotta go. Close the door on her face. And then
that couple's is that where you were going?
Yeah.
The couple's son shows up.
Right.
And then they get into a fight.
Over the will.
Yeah, so as mentioned earlier, that old man character that shows up first, he's dying, probably from cancer or some shit. He smokes, cancer, yeah.
Guarantee it.
Yeah, and
or maybe that cut that was on his back.
Yeah,
what was that?
I forgot that they never touched.
It's back okay. On. It'll make sense later.
Oh my god,
Morgan's got the answers.
Oh my god,
motherfucker.
Okay, so you don't get to talk right now. We're just gonna talk about this.
I can't just sit here and be silent.
And you're gonna do all the talking at the end. Because you have the answers.
After James and I get done spouting our bullshit, then you can just be like...
I just want to see how close I got. So I want to say what I think's going on.
I'm excited to hear it.
And then you're going to tell me how I'm wrong.
I mean...
No, I know I'm wrong.
Okay.
I'm not insightful. I'm not deep.
I'm not either. That's why I read an article.
But now you have the answers, so...
But, okay, so... his son show up because I guess I'm gonna assume it's the younger one. He looked younger. Who's the Eddie? No, that's not Eddie Redmayne.
Ed Sheeran.
No.
What? They were redhead.
Yeah. Okay, but that doesn't. No. What is the name of that actor? What did he play in?
I didn't recognize any of them.
Me neither.
Is his last name Gleason?
I just told you I don't know.
I'm pretty sure. Anyway.
Gleason?
No. What is his name? Oh, I have Mother pulled up right here. I can just probably look up the actress.
Oh, sorry. Don't look. Mother.
Yeah, Domhnall Gleeson. Gleeson.
Sure.
Oh yeah, that guy.
God bless you.
Yeah, he was in an episode of Black Mirror. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he was in the Cyborg episode.
Sure.
That weird one.
Which one was the Cyborg?
I don't remember.
Oh yeah, by the way, just so you people know, this is a pretty crazy cast of actors and actresses. I mean, you have J-Law, Javier Bardem, Michelle Pfeiffer, who's the bitch character.
Bitch.
I like her character name is literally just woman.
Are you sure it's not bitch?
I mean, it should be bitch.
So is the other guy's
man or
Ed Harris?
Cancer?
Oh, it doesn't say. That's the only one. But the guy who played Domhnall Gleeson's brother is his brother, Brian Gleeson. So there's that. And then there's I'll skip this one until later, because this actress just shows up at the end of the film and you're just like, okay, she's in this. Anyway, so
I have a theory about that too, actually.
Yeah, so Domhnall Gleeson shows up and he's read the will, and from, you don't get the gist of it, but it basically sounds like he's been cut out of the will, at least monetarily, or maybe all the money is going to the wife.
But they signed a trust, so basically before, I think it's either just him or before any of them can spend any of the money, they all have to agree that that's a good way to spend whatever portion of money that they want to spend. Okay. So, which means that then he thinks they're all against him.
Why is it called a trust then?
Because you all have to. I don't know.
Nope.
No, I have no idea why.
It can't be called a trust if they don't trust each other.
Yeah, we don't trust you, so we're calling it a trust.
Well, I don't know. Trusts are usually set up in a way so that way they
a mistrust.
A mistrust?
Distrust.
Yeah, there you go.
That's what I meant to say.
The trusts are usually set up for people that aren't going to be, they're afraid they're not going to be responsible, and you put a designated person that says, until they turn this age, or after so much time, like, you're the person that I guess we trust to dole out the money as you see fit. Right. So I guess he didn't like that. But anyway, things escalate. Domhnall Gleeson punches Ed Harris's character in the stomach, and then the older brother Brian gets into it with him, and then Domhnall Gleeson murders him with a fucking doorknob. And of course, it's kind of weird because nobody helped. This whole time, Jennifer Lawrence is really trying to stop them from fighting, but she's not doing anything but yelling stop.
She's the only one acting normal, really. I mean, she's genuinely acting normal in this chaos. I don't know, it's weird. But
so the older brother gets murdered, the younger one kind of just disappears, and then they end up all taking the older brother to the hospital, except for J-Law. She stays there at the house, and then after they come back, or after her husband gets back, which she spends. She spends time cleaning up the blood. A lot of that.
We're backtracking. Wait, we forgot something. Hang on.
Yeah, so she spends time cleaning up the blood and everything in the house, and then ends up finding this bloodied spot in the room that ends up
just crumbling.
Yeah, being a hole that goes down into the basement. And then she finds a secret area in the basement that not really secret, but just basically a direct area to
something they had blocked off previously.
Yeah. It's basically access to the furnace and the tank that holds the oil for the furnace. But yeah, so she cleans all that blood up, and then her husband comes back. And it seems like everything's going to be fine and everything's going to go back to normal because those people didn't come back. But then she wakes up in the middle of the night and all of a sudden all these people are showing up in black clothing, basically after a funeral, right?
Right.
And so anyway, her husband acts like everything is normal and doesn't give a shit what his wife thinks because she's just I don't want any of these people here. And then so there's this eulogy going on, and they're just mourning, and then it just more and more people start showing up, and it kind of starts turning into a party, and the people get more and more belligerent with J-Law's character. They're pretty much, they get to a point where they're pretty much ignoring her, and then they break something in the house and she freaks out and just screams for them all to get out. That was her snapping point of just being get the fuck out.
It was the sink that wasn't braced.
Yeah. And she told 8 people before.
And they were being ridiculous and bouncing on it
like children.
Yeah,
and so that's something that's really strange about this film, is the way it treats non-essential characters. Is that they're extreme examples of bad people. Like, Morgan's over here just smiling away.
There's like no normal non-essential person. They are all the extreme of something.
Yeah, so like initially whenever the whole like funeral scene starts, there's like some black guy that gives her a shot, but he immediately is like giving her weird looks, and you're just like, okay. And then eventually he takes some girl up to their room, and then this is whenever you start getting really weird dialogue between the characters.
Yeah.
Is she goes up to the room and she's like, hey, excuse me, you have to get out of here, because the guy was like making out with this chick and was clearly gonna probably bang her, and she's just like, you gotta get out of here, this is my room. And they just laugh at her, and it's like, yeah, your room, like as if she's irrelevant and she's lying. And this happens more and more throughout the film. And so that happens. She's like, okay. And then there's so many little like running fucking themes throughout this entire film. Okay, so things that keep reoccurring. One, she like has a moment of solidarity or something, and then just closes her eyes and kind of breathes for a second, leans her head against the wall, touches the wall or something, basically touches like the house, and then you get a metaphor of there being a heart beating in the walls.
Right.
And
only she can.
And as major events happen, the heart slowly starts decaying, right?
Right.
So there's that, and then anytime she starts like kind of freaking out and having like, I guess, a panic attack or something, she goes to the bathroom and like drinks this. She takes a glass of water and puts this weird old timey looking powder shit. I mean, kind of looks like just that like emergency stuff that you just sprinkle in for vitamin C.
Yellow.
Looks like mellow yellow, yeah. It's Pop Rocks. So yeah, she drinks that. And then
everything goes back to normal. Like, it stops.
Yeah, she just kind of, calms down and everything.
Because the house starts decaying whenever she gets stressed.
Right.
And stuff. So she drinks that and it goes back to normal for a little bit.
So, but while she's doing that, after she tells those people to get out of her room, some guy just barges in the bathroom. She's like, excuse me. And he's just like, oh, sorry, just exploring. And you're just like, what the fuck? Okay. So after she calms down, she goes back downstairs, and those two people that were about to totally fuck on her bed just like are painting her house. Like, what the fuck?
Like, what do you do? What?
Yeah.
Why?
So all that happens, she's like, no, just stop. Like, you don't have to do this. And then goes back into the room where her husband is, and like everything's kind of getting crazy. And so she goes into the kitchen, and she runs into this dude that's like hitting on her.
Oh my god.
But is like giving off a super like creep rapey vibe, and
1000% rape.
And then while all this is happening, this interaction, she's just like, no, get away from me, I don't want your number, I don't want anything from you.
Well, she's going back and forth between him and the idiot people bouncing on the sink that eventually broke.
Right.
So she's like, has her attention divided between fighting him off and getting him to not destroy her shit, and very stressful time.
So all that happens, she freaks out after they break the sink and tells everyone to get out.
Which is totally something that is fine to do in that situation.
And so she starts cleaning up.
Reasonable. That's the word I'm looking for. A reasonable reaction to that situation.
So she starts cleaning up, and then Javier Bardem's character is like, look, no, you don't have to do this. And she starts basically arguing with him, like being like, look, I built this, I helped fix this house, I did everything for you, and you can't write, and all this stuff. And he's like, it's like I'm suffocating. Anyway, so they have this argument, and it culminates in basically saying like their relationship is not working because he's not intimate with her. And so then, of course, that leads directly to sex, like angry fight sex. So
exactly.
That doesn't happen in real life.
No,
never. Fights always end up with someone sleeping on the couch. Right. So of course, then she wakes up the next day, and this is where things really like, if they kind of get normal-ish for like a second. But anyway,
just enough to let you catch your breath.
Yeah, essentially. Right. So she wakes up and she's like, I'm pregnant. I just know I am. And it's like, okay, great for you. But anyway, they're really excited.
That also doesn't happen in real life.
Yeah, no.
And then cut to 8 months later.
Yeah. So he gets like really happy and then like gets a moment of inspiration and just starts writing shit.
And he's naked and looks for a pen and you don't get to see any ween.
No Javier Bardem ween in this film.
Which I'm upset about because we already done saw her fucking nipples.
Yeah, she don't give a shit at this point. She's like, it's all over the internet. I don't care.
Is it really?
Yeah, like the whole like the fappening whenever all that happened. Like,
wait, excuse me, what?
The fappening.
You didn't know about that?
No, but
probably
I like
not.
the name.
Since we're married, we don't know about these things.
Happening.
So there was a time when a bunch of celebrities had their like cloud, like iClouds and shit hacked, and so they just found a bunch of nude pictures that they had taken.
Why you don't do nudes?
You're right.
And then don't post them in the cloud.
And then, but also just don't do it.
Right. So they found a bunch of them, and just like, I mean, there were tons that just got thrown out there, and one of them was hers. So yeah, but it was a huge thing, and the internet dubbed it the fappening. So
okay.
But anyway, so at this point she probably doesn't give a shit. She's like, I'm naked. I don't give a fuck. So yeah, so he gets inspiration.
But wait, hang on before we move on. I'm just upset.
Oh.
Just in general that there's not more penis in movies.
Okay.
We'll write a letter.
I'm just letting everyone know.
We'll petition more penis.
Hollywood needs more penis.
There's girl butts and titties, and sometimes there's a little bit of vagina, but there's no penis.
Sometimes,
anyway.
but
I'm looking for equality.
Looking for equality.
I'd like to see a little more dick on the big screen.
What about balls?
That's fine too.
Okay.
It's all part of the same makeup.
Looking for some quality film dick. Okay.
Anyway, sorry about it.
Yeah, no, you're good. It's a legitimate complaint. So yeah, he gets inspiration and he writes this poem. I guess it was just one poem or just a few poems. It didn't seem like it was a lot.
All on one piece of paper.
Yeah.
Weird.
But anyway, apparently and he has this moment with J-Law and it seems really intimate and like he's like, please read it. And like she reads it and she's it's beautiful, perfect. And then the phone rings.
And she realizes that his publisher already has read it before she even did.
Right.
Which is pretty messed up.
Yeah, so she wasn't the first, she wasn't the priority, even though she was the inspiration for the piece. And then I'm pretty sure from there, right, it just cuts to 8 months later?
Yeah, it does. Straight up.
Yeah, so, because I know she, like, kind of walks away, but I'm pretty sure it just cuts to 8 months later.
Oh, it does. Mm-hmm.
So it cuts to 8 months later. She's pregnant. They've got everything kind of fixed up. I don't know. I guess
that spot in the floor.
Yeah.
In the room that they turned into the nursery, which I wouldn't have. That house is huge. You could have chosen a different room.
Oh yeah.
The spot in the floor, she puts a rug over where it used to be because she's replaced the floorboards.
Right.
And then she comes back and sees that the rug has blood on it. And she touches it and realizes this is fresh. And so then she moves the rug,
carpet.
And it's
fine.
It's totally fine. And then later she comes back to it and she moves the rug again, and
it's all decayed and bloody again.
And yeah, falling in. And
yeah, so
creepy, weird visual.
So it kind of seems normal. She's going around. She's kind of just doing normal house things.
She's in a beautiful dress and getting ready for like a dinner with her husband.
Well, so there's I think it's before she's in the fancy dress where the baby moves, right? And she tries to share that moment with Javier. Right. And I don't remember what happens there.
No,
like
he's standing in the doorway, and that's when he's finished the poem.
Oh yeah, okay, and that's when
right.
he's finished it, and then okay, so all that happens. So the cutaway to 8 months happens before he reveals the poem. So apparently he's been working.
He's writing it
for 8 months, right? So
yeah, that's right.
Right. So and then after all that happens, she walks away, goes and takes a shower, and they're gonna have a special little night together. She's in a like you said, a beautiful dress, all dolled up, cooking what looks like a fucking delicious meal. Looked amazing.
There's lots of food and a cake.
Right. And then next thing she knows is, he's like, oh, let me help you. She's like, well, can you bring something in? I don't remember.
I think she said the bread.
Yeah.
A simple task that he couldn't do.
She hears something, and then a light turns on the porch, and there's a dude just standing out there. And then she's like, what the fuck? And goes to the front door, and there's like some fans just chilling outside of the...
with him, he's
out
out
there.
there.
Yeah,
and
he's
this
out there.
is where the movie starts to just get
not
weird.
fall apart, but just get fucking weird.
Fucking weird. Like it escalates so quickly.
It's like as if Aronofsky just stopped at this point and just like picked a random like try hard college film student and was just like, you write the next 30-40 minutes of this film. And he was like, I got you. So so things get so he's with these fans, and there's just a few of them at first, and he's like, oh, I just need to, I'll be right inside, and she's already feeling like he's not gonna come back in, like things aren't gonna get any better.
Things are going back to how they were. He's neglecting her.
Right, and then and so I don't know, like basically people start getting into the house, and she's like, no, you gotta get out of here. And then because a little boy's trying to get in with his mother because he has to pee, ends up peeing on himself, so she feels bad. But then she finds out everyone else is basically already in the house, just waiting to use the bathroom, and she's like, okay, what the fuck? And then next thing she knows, all these other people are coming in, and Javier moves the table that had her dinner on it away and sets up a little small table for him to
sign autographs.
Yeah, sign autographs. And so at this point you meet the publisher, who is Kristen Wiig, and that was out of nowhere. For her to be in this film. So yeah, she just kind of shows up, and then he really starts ignoring her, and but more and more people are showing up, and he kind of gets halfway distracted, and he notices a lady stealing something. And then she follows her, and she's like, hey, you can't just take stuff. She also grabbed a vase on the way. And
she asks them why they're doing all this, why they're taking stuff, and they say, we need to leave our mark. We need to let them know that we were here.
Yeah.
We need something of his.
Right. And so, because earlier, at the very beginning of the whole interaction with the fans, someone said that one of the guys says, I feel like you wrote this for me. And he was like, of course I did. I wrote it for you. And of course, that takes away the thunder that for J-Law's character, because she was happy that she finally felt like she was a part of his life, and then he just took that and gave it to everyone else. Which becomes the theme of this next 30 minutes of what the fuckery is. Everyone cites that he said everything is to share, and so that at first they're just taking stuff, like you said, to be we have to let people know hey, we're here. But then it becomes more of he said we can share, so we can take whatever.
Yeah, it becomes more destructive.
Yeah, and I love what they did, which is, and a lot of times whenever shits like this starts happening in a film, we're just call the cops. Just call 911. And what does she do? She fucking tries to call 911. And so she gets through and even talks to the operator, and she's like, can you help me? What seems to be your emergency? They're stealing everything. And before she can give her more information,
they rip the phone out of the wall.
Yeah, well, a lady comes up behind her, basically clicks the phone and just takes it from her, and she's like, hey, I was using that. She was like, you'll be fine. And that lady starts to use it, and then some guy just comes up and rips it off the wall. And yeah, it's so from here, things get, the more and more people come in, and things get really crazy, and she's getting really overwhelmed. And then
It starts to look like a war zone.
Yeah, so, well, just before that all happens, like, she starts getting contractions. And so, like, Javier Bardem starts
and every time she has a contraction, the whole house shakes
just shudders,
with her.
yeah. But yeah, and then suddenly the police show up, and then they like start to try to arrest her, and then Javier Bardem's like beating up the cop, and then she runs away, and then it just slowly turns into like an actual fucking war zone. And as she's traveling throughout the house, like the rooms are transforming. So like, you know, she goes into one, and there's a bunch of cops there, and then she goes to the next one, and there's a bunch of riot police there, and there's like a burning barrel in the middle. It's like a street scene, and someone throws a Molotov cocktail, and then
people's faces are being shot off.
Yeah.
Oh my god. The publisher just randomly just murdering people.
Yeah, like what the fuck? So yeah, she like goes in at one point, and like they're just like the fans are basically at this point also getting very cult-ish. Like they're basically becoming a cult and worshiping her husband. And so throughout this whole scene, it like gets nuts, and then like a cop comes and finds her. He like realizes what's going on, like she's having a baby, and he's like, okay, I gotta get you some help or whatever. And his face gets blown off, and she like freaks out, and then like she goes into the next room, and just all these people dead on the floor, and she's trying to crawl to this hole in the house so she can get outside, and then Bardem's character comes up, and he's like, no, it's okay, it's me. Like, and she's like,
it's too dangerous out that way.
And so he like guides her through, and as she goes through, it's as if like this has been a war zone for months, and like all these people are set up in like, you know, makeshift bunks and all this other stuff, and they're starving and need
like
water.
Apocalypse.
Yeah, I mean, it's like a refugee camp.
Exactly.
And then so they start obsessing over him again, because they're like, oh, he's here to save us. And then like he gets her upstairs, right? And tears by the way, after we didn't mention this, but after Ed Harris's character and Michelle Pfeiffer's character come in and break the glass piece, he boards up the room so nobody else can get in there. And at this point he's breaking it down and putting her in there.
It's the last safe haven in the house.
And so they block everybody off, and she has the baby, and it seems a very intimate moment again.
Okay, so first of all, before they go in there, he yells for a doctor, and a doctor comes up, and she's starting to deliver the baby.
And then he pushes her away.
And then he pushes her away and goes into the room and doesn't let anybody. That's a very delicate process, first of all, even in a hospital. But to do it in that dirty house, just all on your own, no, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
that's ridiculous. But I just wanted to point that out as a little weird.
That's a good point. So then she has the baby, and it seems like a very intimate moment, like he cares, right?
Right.
And then
she slowly gets the feeling that he's trying to take the baby from her.
Yeah. Right. And so he's just like, she's like, you have to tell them to go. You have to tell them to leave. They won't listen to me. They adore you. They will listen to you. And so he goes out there, and he comes back, and he has like water and food and everything.
Fruit. Yeah.
And
he's like, look, they brought you gifts.
Yeah. And then after she gets water and everything, and she's like, okay, seriously, you gotta tell him to leave. And he's like, okay, and then leaves and closes the door, and she's, you know, just sitting there waiting a little while, and then comes back, and then she asks, are they gone? He doesn't say anything, and then she's like, you've got to, this is ridiculous, they gotta go. And he's like, I don't want them to leave, you know, I want them to stay.
Yeah, they want to see the baby.
And then he's like, they just want to see the baby. And so at that point, she's like, get the fuck away from me. You're not holding your child, right?
And then they have this like stare down for over the course of a couple days.
Yeah.
And eventually she falls asleep, and he takes the baby while she's asleep.
Right.
And then this is the part that I don't care for at all whatsoever.
So if it hasn't already gotten crazy for you, it just gets even fucking weirder.
It's so bad.
Yeah, so he has the baby, he's walking out there, and they're all cheering and stuff, and then so she's like, you gotta give me the baby back, and goes and pulls him and turns around, then the baby's gone, and she's like, where's the baby? And like, they have him, and so the crowd is holding up. The baby's
crowd surfing.
Yeah, essentially. And I mean, this part's a little...
It's terrible.
I mean, no, I mean, it's comedic before you get to the terrible part. They're like...
It was shocking, and it was funny to me that it was happening. I couldn't believe that I was
it wasn't funny as in, like, they wrote it as, like, this is a good joke. It's, like, funny as in, like, what the fuck is going on? You can't process
is this continuing to happen?
Shit. Right.
So crowd surfing...
And the baby's, like, peeing all over everybody. And, of course, then she's like, you got to give me back the baby. You're going to hurt the baby. You're going to hurt him.
Through the crowd.
Trying to get to him. And then you just, like,
all of a sudden,
the baby's neck just snaps as its head falls back because it's not supported.
Morgan's making a face.
Yeah.
Not a pleasant face.
So that was really grotesque. And I'm pretty sure everyone there had the same reaction as soon as that happened. Like, people, you could, like, in the theater...
I yelped. It was terrible.
Yeah, it was really bad. But before that happened, everyone was kind of, you hear them chit-chatting in the theater, like either giggling or like what the fuck, you know, you hear them chit-chatting. But as soon as that next snap happened, like everyone was silent, right? And then she's, of course, J-Law's character, like, is like, what?
Loses it.
Like, yeah, just loses it. And, like, she keeps trying to push towards them, and then the baby just kind of disappears, and it turns into, like, a funeral type deal at the front of the crowd. And,
still culty.
And she's like, where's my son? And he's just like, he's not dead. And then she's like, what? And then she's like, if you listen closely...
He's repeating the words from the eulogy...
that Bardem's character gave to Ed Harris after his son died. And so she's like, what the fuck? No, fuck you. And then she pushes the dude aside and just sees like a slab of meat with some ribs in it, and it's the child. And then she turns around.
Was
the child.
She turns around and everybody's eating
a piece of that child. And so she like freaks out and is just like, you know, y'all gotta get the fuck out of my house. And they like start beating the shit out of her because they're just
first she grabs a shard of glass
and takes out like 10 or 12 people
left and right.
Yeah.
Then they start beating her in the face.
And then they start beating the shit out of her, and Bardem's character comes in and just like, you know, like trying to stop them, and it's just like, you know, look what they did to you, blah blah blah. And then she's like freaking out, and then
he says, we have to try to forgive them.
Yes, yeah.
Oh my god. So
she's like, no, you're fucking insane. Like, we're not going to do that. And so she like has another freak out moment, and basically the floor splits, and that's really like a signifying moment of just like, yes, she is the house, right? And because even Bardem's character is kind of like shocked a little bit. And what happens? Oh, so she's like,
she runs away.
Yeah, she runs away through the crowd.
Into the room where that couple was staying because she had knocked that lighter off of the dresser.
Right.
And she went to the vent that it had fallen into and grabbed the lighter, and then ran down into the basement where the
secret
hidden room was.
Right.
And that's also where she left her wrench, and she grabs the wrench, and they're chasing her, following her, trying to stop her from doing whatever. And she goes to I don't understand
oil
what
basin.
It's an oil tanker for that furnace because it's an automated furnace. So whenever she first saw that and she was like, "What the hell is that?" and like banged really loud, it was just a furnace kicking on.
Well, anyway,
was that in your article?
She gave James quite the death stare there. So she like pierces the tank and is like holding up the lighter, threatened to basically blow the house up. And Bardem tries to like argue with her, and he's just like, I love you. And she's like, you never loved me. It was never about me. It was always about you.
Yep.
She's like, you only love that I love you. Yep. And so she like just like, fuck you, just drops the lighter, sets the whole tank on fire. Everything explodes, and you just see her just standing in the fire, burning and melting away. All the people in the house die, and then Bardem's character is totally fine. He just has some scorch marks on him, but
and she's totally. I mean, she's alive. You would expect standing next to that tank and the explosion that she'd just be in pieces.
Obliterated.
She'd be a bone.
So then he takes her, and she's like all burnt to a crisp, and he's and he's like, "Where are you taking me?" And he's like, "Back to the beginning." Then he lays her on the table, and she's like, "I've given you everything." He's like, "Not everything. You haven't given me your love." Or whatever, which is a weird thing to say because that's what she's been doing, right? Mm-hmm. And so he's insinuating like starting over and trying again, and then she's like, "It's fine, just do it." And so just like rips open her chest and pulls out her heart.
And there were noises that were unnecessary.
There were crumply noises.
There was lots of...
Yeah, lots of very grotesque, like as if somebody was reaching macaroni into a chest cavity and pulling a heart out. So he pulls the heart out, and throughout the film, as the heart that they've been showing as part of the house has been rotting, you find out that is the same heart, right? It is her heart. And then so he rips her heart open, and inside is another one of those like crystal rock things that the couple broke near the beginning of the film. And so you do see this at the very beginning of the film, but it gives no context. So the film opens up with Bardem's character placing that glass shard onto the pedestal, and then the whole house is all burnt up and everything.
But slowly fades into the new.
Right. So it becomes a new house, and then it shows the bed where J-Law's character is, and it comes back to life, and then she wakes up, and she's like, "Baby," and tries to find him. But at the end of the film, he does that again. He sets it on the pedestal. Everything resets back, except...
It's not J-Law, it's a different woman.
Yes, it is a different woman in the bed.
But she does the exact same thing that J-Law's character did.
Yeah. Wakes up, reaches over, he's not there, sits up in bed and goes, "Baby," and then that's where the film ends.
That's where the leftovers start to roll.
Yeah, James. Oh, James loves his film leftovers.
So we were watching a movie earlier, and the credits started rolling, and Morgan asked me what we were going to watch next, and I thought it'd be funny, and I wanted to say, we're just going to finish watching these credits, but I couldn't think of the word credits, so I said, I'm going to finish watching these leftovers, and they looked at me weird, and I looked at me weird.
And then we've been ribbing him ever since.
We can't use the word credits ever again. Nope. It's only leftovers.
They're now leftovers.
So make that a thing, guys. Hashtag leftovers. Film leftovers.
Yeah. Anyway.
So that's the film. And so before Morgan really starts in on her article,
she's excited.
My theory for what it all is like has to do. So the theme of the film is again obsession and isolation and dealing with change, but also there's this and I'm still trying to really figure it out, of the whole thing with Bardem's character and Jennifer Lawrence, kind of. So clearly Bardem is the one who is the central figure, even though it follows J-Law the entire time, right? And so he's trying to get something right. He's trying to do something right, and this has clearly been done over and over and over again. And so I don't know, like, if he's cursed or something, but he's basically trying to get this perfect scenario to happen. Whenever it doesn't, he resets everything. And it's difficult to tell if the people throughout the whole thing are real or not. My guess is they're not, and so she's tied to the house, and I don't know. I mean, I really don't know or understand. I would have to watch the second time or let Morgan explain.
There is just so much going on in this movie. Like, clearly, Jennifer Lawrence is the house. And I do believe that it is his childhood house. And something happened, I I don't know why it burned initially. And the whole reset thing, I mean, it's cool in the movie and whatnot, but I don't quite understand it as far as the story. I mean, other than he's insane and he thinks he's resetting. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, so it's this thing of like his obsession with people's attention for him and treating everything else as objects, and including Jennifer Lawrence, which is why I think she's equated with the house, because he clearly doesn't give a fuck about the house. And I think it, like a line that he says at one point in the film whenever people start looting is, he says, these are just material things, they can be replaced, much like her, right? And she even says at one point, she says, you know, after he first meets the fans, she was like, I'm having your baby. Like, is this not enough for you? And he was like, of course it's enough. But then immediately goes back out there to get adored by his fans. And so he's just treating everything as expendable, essentially.
That's one thing I didn't quite understand. Right off the bat, I knew that she was the house. She was signifying the house. But then the whole baby thing happened. I'm like, well, how does that? What does this mean? I don't understand.
Yeah, the whole cult thing is really weird. Like, it's definitely like you feel like, okay, I get the metaphor where this is going for, and then after that point, after the fans come in, it's just like, what the fuck? I mean, I get it can still be like all of that shit that happens, the war zone and everything, can still be a metaphor for the deterioration of a relationship.
I feel like what he is trying to do. Why he has to reset is because the baby died. Like he's wanting the fame, but the baby living signifies his success in some way. So he has to go through the whole cult thing because he wants to be a famous poet. He wants us all to work. So these fans, the cult are his fans, and I think the baby is somewhat of him like getting past that in some way, or some form of him the next step. So if he can get the baby past that and that next step, past the cult, then it's a success. I don't know, but the fact that it
could be a curse of him like trying to teach him a lesson of you have to care about others beside yourself,
right?
And
I think he was even trying to salvage that after the baby died. He still has Jennifer Lawrence, so if he can talk her into keeping the progress, forgive them. They're still my fans. I've got this far. We can make another baby,
Right.
If we can just forgive them, we can still move on past this and try again. Because he didn't want to start over, because I think it's a painful process for him. But this is just me just pulling things out of my ass, just things I've noticed. I'm not quite sure. I don't think do I have it right at all?
Were we close, Morgan?
She's smiling. I don't know.
I mean, this is just all from one viewing, so we could be totally wrong here. But I mean,
Morgan, I think we should give the floor to you.
I just want to say that this is loosely based on a book, a very famous book.
Go on.
What book? The Bible?
The Bible.
What?
Oh, really?
The Bible. He's God. She's like Earth, but she's also what was the one who gave birth to Jesus?
Mary.
Mary, thank you.
Yeah, I was thinking about that too. I was thinking like this is very Christ-like because they were like.
So let me explain.
Which now the baby scene makes sense.
The bathroom scene where she first sees the stranger and he's got the cut in the back, and then the next morning the wife shows up. That was God took his rib out and made woman.
Oh.
And then you see them having sex, and then the two sons show up because they fucked.
Cain and Abel because one of them murders. Oh, Jesus Christ.
I know. Oh my God.
I love this.
Okay, so then the little crystal shard thing that he values so much, I feel like it's a representation of Earth, but it's also the apple.
Yeah, forbidden knowledge. Right.
Because they took and then it ruined everything, and that's when it all started to fall apart.
That also makes sense because they're supposedly his wife, right? And then so she breaks the thing, which is the forbidden knowledge, and then what happens? She goes to go tell him to get the fuck out of her house, and they're fucking, right? So immediately they get like carnal knowledge and all this other stuff, right? And so that
doesn't that make sense? Okay, and so then there was something else. I don't remember what I was gonna say, but So like the house, and all the looters and people coming in and taking stuff and saying they want to leave their mark. It's like humans want to leave their mark on the earth. They want to, if aliens come or whatever, they want them to know we were here.
Right.
And then like just, oh my God, so much that I was thinking about every time you guys would say something, and like you saying it was very cult-like. I was cracking up because it totally is.
Yeah, very much like the Christian church.
Okay, so eating the baby is basically a representation of communion, where they're eating the body of Christ.
Yeah. So
That's nuts.
I know.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Okay, sorry.
Yeah,
so it's like all the random people, that's the human race, and that's what we're doing to Earth, and we're just destroying it. Oh, and like when she freaked out and the house split and everything, it's like an earthquake.
Good natural disaster.
Didn't that happen when Jesus was crucified?
An earthquake? I don't know.
Yeah.
I've never read the Bible.
Because I
hope my mom's not listening.
I've been to enough church. I think while he was up on the cross, an earthquake happened and destroyed a bunch of temples or something.
But it's also like saying that, you know, all the humans are destroying the Earth, and then this is how the Earth is retaliating, is like all these natural disasters and shit, which is a direct result of what we're doing to the Earth.
Right.
That's the science part.
And then that would make sense that Javier Bardem's character is trying to get things right.
And why he's like, we need to try and forgive them, because he's God, and that's what God does. He forgives all the sinners and whatever.
Right.
Is your mind blown? Because my mind was so blown.
It really was.
Anyway, okay, so this was an article I have to give credit. It was from...
Me. I wrote it. I'm just kidding.
hiddenremote.com. Never heard of that website. I just typed into Google Mother Explained, and this was the first article, and it's good. I like it.
Yeah.
I
mean, so if anything, I mean, of course, if you read that or that, like, okay, everything fits.
Yeah.
But what I do like about this film is that, you know, from what the way James and I interpret it, is totally a legitimate way you can look at it.
Absolutely.
You know? Which is, I mean,
because I took it as just like a relationship between an abusive man and, you know, his
woman.
I was going away.
Yeah, a narcissist and his effects on a relationship and all that.
The house was her, and he destroyed it. But you know, whatever.
Right.
But it's really.
So I mean, I like that Aronofsky like kind of layers shit like that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, in terms of everyone else's reaction, we went with a couple of friends, and they hated it. Oh, their immediate reaction was just like
there were
garbage.
There were a couple people who walked out in the middle of the movie, and I looked at them and was laughing. But the people that went with us, they were like, "Yeah, we kind of feel like that way too."
Yeah. I mean, it's because Aronofsky he treats his audiences like intelligent people. He says, I'm not just gonna give you the fucking answers. You kind of just gotta
draw your own conclusion.
You kind of just gotta wait till afterwards and read an article about it.
Hey, don't make fun of me, because y'all would never have known.
I really wouldn't. It blows my freaking mind.
I mean, it would take me.
It felt biblical, like in
during certain points.
Yeah,
I was definitely like, this is a little Bible-like. This is a little Jesus-like. This is weird. Especially like. Because there was the whole marking them and everything, like whenever she was like, oh, he's marked me, like God's marked me and everything. I was thinking that too. I was like, that's kind of Jesus-y. That's a little weird. And then
later there was another guy like in front of the office that was boarded up. He was doing it, so I was like, why does he have power? But
he's like the Pope or a preacher, right? Becoming the voice of God and everything. During that whole part, you really kind of felt those themes come through. It's kind of nuts. You know, I get that there's gonna be a lot of people that aren't gonna like it.
I can. Like, we've gotten. Anytime I told someone we were going to see this movie, I got a lot of responses. Oh, I heard it was bad, and I can see why they would think that, because they don't understand what they're getting into. Like, we went in right.
They're just expecting a jump scare, normal thriller, horror, suspense.
They're thinking Gone Girl in the Country. That's what they're thinking. They're thinking like it's just gonna be a standard drama mystery type. But when you mentioned
it was about the same guy that did Requiem for a Dream, I'm like, oh,
there's layers. Now you gotta use your brain.
Right. I know a lot of people who don't like that movie because it's weird. And people don't like weird.
And I think this will be a film that will be his experimental type, because, like we've said, Requiem for a Dream had some trippiness in it, the metaphors and everything else.
For sure, but it was also pretty straightforward.
And then Black Swan had some trippiness in it, was really weird, but again, it was pretty straightforward. The Wrestler, I've heard, is kind of also has trippy moments, but again, pretty straightforward. So he keeps doing that over and over again. But I think with this one, he really
branch out.
Yeah, he really wanted to push and see like what this would do. I mean, even if it's not financially successful, I do think that this will be a film that people will talk about. I think it'll become a cult classic, especially people who,
I would own it.
Yeah.
I'd buy it.
Oh yeah, no shit, yeah. It'll become. It's like Requiem for a Dream. Everyone knows about it. Not everyone has seen it. People talk highly about it, and there's some people who don't like it. Same thing, pretty much with Black Swan. Black Swan was a little bit more pronounced whenever it came out.
A little bit more mainstream.
Yeah. I think that has to do a little bit with the marketing. It was definitely marketed as like a psychological horror film.
And the fact that there was Natalie Portman and Mila Kunis.
Yeah, so that was a big thing. But overall, I mean, this film, I mean, I like Aronofsky, and I like the stuff that he does. And I like watching films by directors who approach filmmaking as an art, because that's what it is. You know, you have the Michael Bays of the world that are gonna approach it as like, this thing makes me a lot of money. But I like directors that really go like, no, you know what, this is like this is totally something that I'm gonna use to express my ideas and thoughts on the world and present a different viewpoint. And he does that really well. There's another director, I cannot remember his name, but I think, let me see, Mother Trilogy. What is his name? He had a trilogy of films. I don't know if I'm gonna be able. Dario Argento, I believe. Yeah, Suspiria, Inferno, and something else. Anyway, so they're like metaphors for shit, like all the films, and they're nuts. And then so he does stuff like that. They're very artsy and metaphorical. Those are fun to watch. There's another one, I think it's called like Melancholy.
Melancholia.
Yeah. And that's part of like a trilogy. Have you seen that one?
I've seen like 30 minutes of it. I fell asleep.
Yeah, it's weird. That's not the one with Willem Dafoe, though, right?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
No, it has like Kirsten Dunst or some blonde actress.
Yeah. Who's the director for this? But I think that's part of the same trilogy. Lars von Trier. Yep. It is Lars von Trier. He had a trilogy of films that was, again, metaphorical for like depression and a bunch of other stuff. And yeah, so it's Melancholia, Antichrist, and then I don't think he's released the third one yet. I don't remember what it's going to be called, but yeah, Antichrist is the one with Willem Dafoe in it, and that one is fucking weird. It's about a couple whose son dies very young, I believe, maybe even as a baby, and so they take a weekend out to the woods to kind of get away from it all, to try to help heal, and then shit gets weird real fast. But that's
another movie for another episode.
Yeah, of course. So the point I'm getting at is that it kind of sucks that there's not more people who appreciate film like that as an art form.
Right. As opposed to just, I'm going to sit down for an hour and a half and just not have any thoughts.
Right. I mean, and that's fine. There are plenty of films that I watch that are just shallow level entertainment.
Mm-hmm.
Like The Dark Knight.
Shut your mouth. No, like that movie about the guy that has poison in his system and he has to keep adrenaline going to keep himself from
Transporter.
No, same actor, but that's not it.
He had something like that
though. And then the second one, his heart's taken out and replaced by something, and he has to keep shocking himself to keep the
transporter.
No, it's not the transporter, man. It's Why are you making me do this?
I'm not.
Anyway, so has anybody seen Rosemary's Baby? Because I kept thinking about Rosemary's Baby.
I've heard that a lot of people like to compare the two. I mean, the posters for I saw a picture where they compared the two posters, and they were very similar.
What two posters?
The poster for Rosemary's Baby, which shows a crib and then her in the background, like her face, right, facing up.
I'm familiar with Rosemary's Babies.
So they did the same thing with Mother, where it was a house in the background and Jennifer Lawrence's face facing up, but like they almost look exactly the same.
But I mean, also the actual movie, like a lot of the same feelings were there and a lot of similarities.
I can see that.
I also really like what they were doing with the camera work, following J-Law around.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I forgot to touch on that, which is they kept everything very close, like all the time.
And following her constantly.
Right. And so it really felt like everything was from her viewpoint, which goes on the whole thing of whenever you think about the reset, is that he's the
creator.
He's the creator. He's this central character that never changes, but this other one is the one that constantly changes. And so the mother is. And so I like that it kept on her the entire time. Mm-hmm. But also what the whole keeping close and never having a lot of whiteout shots meant that you really felt the tension and like the fraying of her nerves throughout the film. And
because it was fraying my nerves because I kept expecting something to pop out.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's... Oh, and what I did like is that there were a lot of points whenever like things just kind of popped into, like Domhnall Gleeson's character comes back into the house at one point, and she like is standing there and goes to pick something up, and he's right behind her, and they didn't use like a violin stab or like a loud crash or anything. It was just she just bent down, he was there. Yeah, and that was just scary still, you know.
Oh yeah.
And
I didn't jump, but I was still terrified. My heart jumped.
Yeah. I'm not finding this film. This is making
probably because it's Transporter.
It's the Transporter.
It's not Transporter 1 and 2.
Maybe it's Looper.
It's not Looper.
Well, he wasn't even in that film.
I don't know who you're talking about. I'm just saying stuff.
Jason Statham is who I'm talking about.
I know what he looks like.
Oh my god, Frank.
That's
Frank.
what I said.
Not Frank.
That's what I meant actually now.
Frank.
Yeah, so Crank, it's a very like dumb action film, but it's
Purple
fun.
Drink.
Are you done?
Are you?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So, yeah, I guess we want to give this a rating, or is there anything else that you want to talk about before we get there?
I'm good.
Yeah.
I'll go first with the rating. I'm gonna give it. What's our rating out of like?
We're doing out of 5 gears, right?
As far as I'm gonna give it 5 biblical references out of 5. I don't know. It was a weird one. So, but the mind-blowing thing with the
made it better.
Made it a lot better. Like once you understand where it's coming from, it's crazy to think back at it. So I'm gonna
and I can't wait to watch it again with that in mind.
Yeah, and we're not doing fractions or anything.
So for me,
I'm doing halves.
Doing halves.
Yeah. So for me, it was gonna be a 4.5 out of 5. Before the revelation, after the revelation.
Revelations.
That was on purpose. after the Revelations, it was 5 out of 5 because it's just, I like it whenever films like they hint enough, right? It hints enough at the theme that it's really like setting like, hey, this is what this all means, but it doesn't shove it in your face, you know. No one goes like, it's like he's the son of God. Like no one says that, you know, like you know, it'd be I would like it would have been really annoying, right? If J-Law's character was like, you crucified my son or something stupid,
would,
right?
Like slap your forehead about that.
Yeah, for sure. Or if, you know, you found out that her name was Mary. You know, you're just like, oh, it'd be like, okay, just like shove it right down our throat. Which we were kind of talking about this before the film, where just like, where there's a lot of films where they're just like, well, the audience is dumb, they're not going to get it. Let me insert X character that just knows everything, and it's just going to say, here's all the exposition, blah, 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 blah. Now do you get it?
Like the problem we have with a lot of movies, actually.
Yeah. So
I'm an idiot, by the way, because they reference her as Mother the whole time, and she represents Earth. She's Mother Nature.
Yeah.
I didn't.
Mother Earth,
whatever.
Well,
I just now made
and
that
the Mother of Mothers,
the
because
mother.
she's Mary.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're good.
Move past that.
You're not dumb. So, I mean, based on the rating that I gave it, which was 5 out of 5. I'm gonna give this one a 3.5 because I liked it like way better.
Well, I think because of the, I mean,
the layer. Sorry to cut you off, but the layers are great, and like all the different references in there. It's smart. It's a very smart movie, but I just enjoyed it more.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you there too, because honestly, like, I've seen it 3 times now, and I could watch it a 4th time, I could watch it a 5th time. Honestly, I love that movie so much I could literally buy it and sit down and watch it like 2 or 3 times in a day.
Yeah,
like, it's good.
It's so good.
So yeah, I mean, I think as time goes on, we'll figure out exactly where we want movies to sit as we rate them. I think maybe my just mind blownness about the theme of it is like what's influencing it, but
yeah,
I mean, I still liked it a lot. So
I gotta figure out if I'm rating this on what the movie was going for, how well they executed that, or if I'm rating it on how much I personally enjoyed the movie.
For me, it's personal taste.
Okay, I think I'm gonna go that way too, which means I have to knock it down a peg, because like Morgan, I enjoyed. Physically, I just enjoyed it a lot more.
Physically,
it touched me in a physical way, Morgan. Yeah, Pennywise just reached out, and I'm gonna quit talking now. I'm gonna go ahead and give it a. I'm gonna give it a 3. I'm gonna give it a 3. Yeah, because I mean, I was very confused for most of it.
I mean, if I was gonna knock it down a peg, it'd just be down a half point, so it'd be a 4 or a 4.5.
Which isn't that what you gave it?
I gave it a definite 4.5 out of 5.
All right.
Because Goofy movie is clearly 5 out of 5. All
You're
right?
weird. But that's fine. So, okay, we're going to talk about previews.
Previews?
Because I have like I have 3.
A handful of 3.
Yeah, well, I'm missing a couple fingers.
A 3 full of hands.
So,
specifically that were before this film? Or just 3 that you want to talk about?
Well, for me, it's 3 that were before this film because I want to talk about them.
Then talk about them.
Okay, so the first one was Suburbicon.
I think it was.
Is that what?
I think it's Suburbicon. Yeah.
Suburba something.
With Jason Sudeikis and Matt Damon and right?
No, you're thinking of Downsize.
Yeah, Downsize looks silly, and I just don't know. But
I mean, I want to watch it just because
because we have movie pass cards and we can.
Suburbicon, right? Yeah, Matt Damon in it. Suburbicon.
Yes, they both did.
Yeah, so he was involved.
I thought it was weird because there were 2 trailers of him back to back.
Matt Damon's been busy since The Martian.
Apparently.
Yeah, because he did amazing, and everyone's just like, be in my film. Which is fine, because I love Matt Damon.
So, but what was Suburban?
It was about the mob coming after his family, and then him
he
getting
goes crazy
revenge
and kills people
without the cops knowing.
Yes.
Right.
Oh, and then
Looks
The
crazy.
Shape of Water.
Oh my, yeah.
Guillermo del Toro's new thing.
Yes, anything Del Toro touches, I'm totally gonna go.
Very
watch.
Interesting.
It just looks so good. And then the third one is apparently not that important because I forgot about it.
Downsize.
No.
The Snowman.
Yeah, the Snowman.
Which were y'all with me when we originally saw that trailer?
Nope.
Okay, so
that was the first time for me.
I think I saw it way back at the beginning of the year, and I had totally forgot about it.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
When is it coming out again?
In October.
Yeah.
But I think when I saw it back in like February or something, it was like, this is just it coming soon. But yeah, so that film looks good. Also kind of crazy.
I mean, it looks like it could have a lot of problems.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. But hopefully it's good. I mean, it'd be nice for that to be like Gone Girl level good, but that's asking a lot.
Yeah, no. I think
and there was too much blood in this movie, or in the trailer for it to be that level.
A lot of fan service. For Gone Girl is more of the artsy side of thriller-ish, and this is more of the just fan service type stuff.
If it's well executed, it could be good, but we'll see. But so for my opinion on Suburbicon was,
What?
Like,
that's how I felt about all the other trailers, but sorry.
but you know, whatever. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'll watch it, but at the same, I don't know. It just didn't seem to
You're
draw me in.
not invited to watch it.
Oh, that's fine.
We're getting our own solo episode.
I got other friends. You know?
Oh
no,
God,
you don't.
So do we.
Yeah, who? Meridian. That's their daughter, by the way.
Meridian. Oh, she's asleep. What am I doing?
So,
she's our friend. She has no choice.
Yeah, and your dog doesn't count as a friend either, even though it's not even your dog.
Yeah, well.
Anyway, so Suburbicon, I'll go watch it, but I'm not like excited for it. But downsizing.
Looks ridiculous, and I don't like the look of whatever Matt Damon with no hair and no eyebrows.
Yeah, that was weird.
And then
that's gotta be
temporary. The little tiny body with the little
spatula.
Yeah.
I just think it's a really
and
cool idea.
And it made a little wet noise. It was
it does look very odd, but I think that's what draws me in about it is the quirkiness of it.
I just hate that it's coming out on Christmas.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense to be a Christmas face. But then again, there have been quite a few films that have come out on Christmas that didn't make any sense. The Hateful Eight was on Christmas. I
think we should stop releasing movies on Christmas Day.
Yeah, it's kind of bullshit for people to have to work on Christmas. I mean, it sucks that Walgreens is open, and I think Walmart's going to start being open for a few hours. This should just be a day when all of America shuts down. If you have to go get things, it's your own fault.
Plan better next year.
Let's make Christmas the Purge.
Or not. I like presents.
Holiday Purge.
I don't like my present to be death.
It would kind of be a present to... Never mind.
Instead of murdering people, we just give them presents violently.
Right, yeah.
Take this baseball bat to the face!
Right.
Yeah.
But Shape of Water...
Yeah.
The only thing...
It's like a love story and a horror story.
Yeah.
I like it.
I like the fact that the main girl character is deaf.
Of course. No, she's not. She's mute.
Oh, she's mute.
She ain't deaf. She mute.
She can hear you. I remember that from the trailer now.
She can't talk.
Right.
A weird thought I kept having, every time I see this, I keep thinking that it goes through the whole story of this, because they mentioned that this creature has the capacity for like human speech and everything, all that kind of stuff. So for some reason, for me, it ends, and then that creature picks back up in the Hellboy movie, where you can actually
that's
smart.
That's what I was gonna.
Like
that's what I was gonna say. It looks a lot like whatever his name was.
The blue underwater character.
Yeah, the guy that could. Yeah,
be in the water.
Yes, that guy from Hellboy.
That could pee in the water.
Morgan, we can all be in the water.
But that's where I'm immediately.
The fishy guy. Yeah, they look very similar. But
they also look a little fishy.
Oh, it is late, and that is a joke.
I am becoming delirious.
Yes.
Sorry.
So,
any other trailers? You got a trailer?
I mentioned.
Do you got a trailer?
Nope. I mean,
not
that I can think of. I was gonna watch a few trailers the other day, but I decided not to. One of them was Downsizing, but because I just saw the screen cap for it, and I just saw like 2 tall people and then 2 tiny little people on a table, and I was like, "What the fuck, Honey? I Shrunk the Kids."
It immediately made me
think
3? Of Willy Wonka.
Oh, Willy Wonka. Oh, because of the style.
Mike TV.
Mike TV.
Mm-hmm.
The one shrinks from the,
They shrink the child, and because he wants to be on TV, and so and all the molecules are in the air and floats over to the TV, and then he like materializes in the television.
Yeah, I vaguely remember that. I need to rewatch that film.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess that's it for this episode.
Yeah. It was a fun time. Thanks for listening.
Yeah, sticking through us with this weirdness.
Sorry we talk so much. No, I'm not.
No, that's
I'm going to apologize at the end of every podcast for talking so much. And then I'm going to be like, wait, sorry. It's a podcast.
That's what we're supposed to do.
Yeah, I'm not sorry.
I mean, we could start another show in just an hour of silence.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
All right. A little giggle.
Can I sleep?
You can't.
No. Well, if you snore or anything,
maximum silence.
Then it's over.
I can edit that out.
What if somebody?
Oh yeah, true. Technology is crazy.
What if James sleep toots?
We leave those in.
Those are good.
That's not vocal.
Those are the only jokes allowed are fart jokes.
Yeah.
Made by butts.
Because everybody likes fart jokes. Okay. Anyway, good night.
All right. Bye guys. Thank you.
Thanks.